My name is Jes Wolfe, and I am the CEO of Rebel Girls, and I climbed Aconcagua. And I can't talk. I climbed Aconcagua. So Aconcagua is one of the 7 summits, which are the highest peaks on each continent. And I'd climbed Kili 15 years ago. So I got the first one done and had always been thinking about what would another one be. And about 4 years ago, I climbed Cotopaxi, which was another really high peak. And on that trip, decided I really wanted to do it. And so I hatched this plan that one day that would be the next mountain. So Aconcagua is just under 23,000 feet tall, which is the highest I'd ever been. So before, Kili and Cotopaxi are about 19,600 feet or so. So this was another big push. And the tops of those mountains was very high. Cotopaxi was the hardest thing I've ever done. And the entire climb up, I made a deal with myself that if I just kept going, I would never have to do anything hard ever again in my life. So here I was 3.5 years later, about to do it again and go higher. So I was really anxious about it, and I'm getting older too. And what is my body going to perform, and is it going to make it? And what's it going to be like at that altitude? And so that was a lot of the nerves. I felt good about my training. I started about a year beforehand. And I started with conditioning, so a lot of running, a lot of biking, that kind of thing. And then I added a lot of weightlifting. So I actually did way more weightlifting, probably 6 months into it, probably 3 times a week, just tons and tons of squats and trying to get really strong. And then I would go on these big hikes every week with a weighted vest. So the top of Aconcagua is about 40% of atmospheric pressure that you have at sea level. So that means that oxygen is very thin. And so you're not getting a lot of oxygen, which is what makes it so hard, because you get out of breath very quickly, and your heart has to pump so much harder to do normal activity at sea level. And we wanted to go quicker. And so instead of taking 2 or 3 weeks to do this trip, we wanted to do it in a lot less time. And so what we did is we did what's called a rapid ascent, which is we slept in a hypoxic tent for a month before going to pre-acclimatize and get more red blood cells in your blood. So for a week before, I slept in this head tent in my bed, and we started simulating 7,000 feet, and we got to the end of sleeping at about 17,000 feet. And each night I would simulate sleeping at higher and higher elevation to pre-acclimatize, so that when we got there, we could go straight to base camp and feel good. Carla is my inspiration. She's one of the women I admire most in the world. And we had put her in one of our books. And she's featured in Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, about 100 amazing Ecuadorian and Colombian women. The first time I got to meet her in real life was to climb Cotopaxi, because she is also an international guide.
Since I was a kid, for everything, for religion, in the family, for everything, I was like, why? Why just, why it has to be a man? Why for everything? And just that makes me a rebel girl, because I always gonna ask, where is the limit? Why? Who say that?
I just think she is one of the smartest, biggest thinkers, most pushing herself, challenging humans out there. And I wanted to climb Aconcagua with her, with Carla leading the way.
Aconcagua is the highest mountain in the Americas. It's the highest mountain in South America. And for mountain climbers, this is a very important mountain that you look to climb when you are trying to go higher and higher, and that means going to the Himalayas, to the 8,000 meter peaks one time in your life.
I think everyone's unique. I think everyone goes to the mountains with different bits. There were people there on our expedition who were training for Everest, and this was one of the steps along the way. There were others that had things to prove to themselves. There were others that just love a good adventure and wanted that. Everyone has their own unique story. Everyone is interested in this objective. And that's what brings us together, is that objective.
I feel in this expedition with Jes and every member of that expedition, there was a deep human connection, even before the expedition. So I feel like when we started that expedition, there was a very particular energy.
So I knew Alan because he and I had climbed Cotopaxi together with Carla and Topo. And back then, afterwards said, we should do Aconcagua. And then some years passed, and then leading up to it, I was like, hey, Alan, are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do this? And so I did know Alan. I got to meet Lynette, who was just always full of jokes and chatting and great. My tent mate was a woman named Pippa, and we had this beautiful camaraderie. I really enjoyed climbing with her and being tent mates with her. Mike was one of the guys on the trip who's a bit older and was training for Everest and just showing the world that age is a number and your body can do incredible things. And so that's who I knew, and then everyone else was new. Anytime someone has a struggle and overcomes it, that's motivating for the rest of the group.
Of course, we are always training physically, mentally, and spiritually as well to go to any mountain, right? Because you cannot just show up and think like it's gonna be done by itself.
Team dynamic, the jokes we tell, the humor we kept, the spirits we kept is very, very, very important. The higher you go and the more uncomfortable it gets.
I think what the mountains require the most is this preparation, and then focus, and then be ready to give it all. An important thing is to start to climb higher and higher, 4,000 meters, 5,000 meters, 6,000 meters, and then 7,000 meters. And the more iconic mountain, I think, in the world to climb 7,000 meters is Aconcagua, the highest in America and the highest in South America. Every time I start the climb and the expedition, I always offer the mountain actually first. I offer them all the energy that I'm going to spend, because it's gonna be super hard. We're gonna have to be, carrying all these, focusing, sometimes in pain, sometimes without eating, sometimes super cold. So I know it's gonna be a lot of hard moments. So in that way, I always start saying, I offer all this energy to you.
So in the beginning, up until Camp 2, really, I was wearing hiking pants and a thermal layer and maybe something like this. And it was sunny and warm and happy and super chill. We made it. I'm feeling pretty good. All better?
All better.
Awesome.
And no one had to see my bottom.
Nice work.
Thanks.
Here comes the chef. Once we got to Camp 2, it started snowing and colder, and then it progressively got more snowing and more colder. Time to move to Camp 3. I think we're all realizing that it really starts now. A little anxious, but this is what we came here to do. And so now we're gonna go do it.
Okay, so this expedition in Aconcagua is a rapid ascent, so that means we don't have a lot of time. Normally an Aconcagua expedition can last 20 days, sometimes 1 month. And for us, we have exactly 10 days in the mountain.
When you want to go do something big, like climb a big mountain that's going to be very cold, very windy, very hard, the best thing you can do is lots of little practice. And so I like to break down this big thing into small moments. What can you control? So you can control your breathing. You can also control, like, what is my task right now? Sometimes our task is to eat. Sometimes the task is to pack up. It was 2 pairs of underwear for the whole thing and 2 pairs of socks and, the bare minimum of what you need. And you just live with being really dirty because you don't want to carry more weight. So mostly what we ate on this trip was some version of salami, cheese, and candy. Gummy worms. That's basically what we ate. Calorie-rich, dense meat, cheese, just get your calories in your body, and then sugar to keep you going. What's in your bag?
I have a lot of candies. This is what I really like to eat up there. Actually, I have 2 chorizos, but most of it is a lot of sugary things. Because up there we burn a lot of energy.
Water is super, super important. You want to drink 4 to 6 liters of water a day. Dehydration is the enemy at altitude. So it's a lot of water to drink. You're carrying about 2 liters a day as we go from point A to point B. And then basically we would have to melt water. And so, chop up snow and ice, melt water at each camp to have the hydration to keep going. Aconcagua is known for being very, very windy. That's the big thing we were looking for, is how windy is it going to be. It's also known for being very, very cold.
Big mountains are not made for everyone. You cannot just think you're gonna summit and you summit. You need something that is inside, very deep inside your mind and your heart, that sometimes you don't know yet that you have, but you will need to have tons of this energy, resilience, and courage. It's not made for everyone. It's just for the people who have this strength in the heart and can push super hard.
Okay, here's Camp 3. It's about 7 p.m. We finished dinner. I just brushed my teeth. We're getting ready to go to bed. Waking up at 2 in the morning to go to a summit push. And yeah, a little anxious, a little excited, feeling all the feels. Doing this one for my dad, doing this one for me. And tomorrow is the ultimate adventure. I messaged my dad at base camp. Dad, I got here, and he said, that's great, have fun, I love you. And then there was no internet at Camp 1. And so when I got to Camp 2, I messaged him again and said, Dad, I got to Camp 2, and sent him a picture of me and Carla. And he never replied. And the internet is a Starlink attached to a solar panel, so when the sun goes down, there's no internet. So I knew something was really wrong, and I was really worried. And how to go to bed, just putting love into the universe. And in the morning, we got internet again, and my brother had messaged me that our dad had died. And it was really hard. I was on this journey, and I knew that he would want me to make it. That he would have been really disappointed if I hadn't made it. And so what was going to be really hard just became that much harder. And the mental game of keeping it together and keeping focus became that much harder.
Initially, I was always very upset. But then I realized that the more upset I was, it makes me angry, and that was worse for my injury. So I learned to first calm down. The same thing, your brain is telling you, but you stop that voice, you breathe, and you try to be patient and calm.
Carla's mantra is, no matter what happens, the first thing you do is you breathe, you slow down, then you're grateful, you're alive, you're in this moment, you get these opportunities, and then you just keep going. I think Carla has a very unique view of the world, where she views every challenge, every obstacle as a great adventure, as an opportunity to be alive and yourself and become your best self. And she's reminded me of that both on the mountain and off the mountain. I just find her worldview incredible.
I feel like Jes also took this possibility to make this dream come true in one of the hardest moments of her life. The universe gave you the gift that it was not in the best moment, but even with that, you had the courage, a big courage to keep going and to make it through. And I knew that she has this very, very, very strong mindset. So I just say, tomorrow when we woke up, you're gonna see everything's gonna work. She's very strong and she's gonna make it. And that was the case. I feel this is the beauty of the mountains for me. The most beautiful thing in the mountains is that you can find these connections with people that are bound forever. And for me, that's a big gift. Of course, very hard, but a very nice gift.
Get it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Warming up my.
You did both of them?
Yep. Toesies.
I'm working hard to be very connected to the present moment and be here. Here I am in the highest mountain of South America, leading a team with amazing people through these beautiful places, also heal and just learn more.
It's especially motivating for me to climb with Carla because Carla is a woman. Like, it's way more motivating for me. And it was so much fun to have Lynette and Pippa be a part of this expedition and to have 4 women go do this really hard thing together and support each other and bond with each other and have that same sense of humor or outlook or whatnot. I think, you know, some of these sports have been traditionally male dominated, and it's great to see more women participate and thrive and conquer and do it together. We're at 22,000 feet at the cave. 800 feet to go. It was very, very hard, and it didn't matter. It just kept going, you know, until we got to the top. I had used every ounce of physical strength and mental strength and emotional strength to get to the top of this mountain. You know, the Andes just expanded themselves and showed us this crazy, awesome mountain range. And the sun was shining, and we were in high spirits and feeling good. And I remember telling everyone, hey, we are alive. We get to do this and we get to be alive, and oh boy, how alive are we. And I realized that moment when we were there, and I still look back at it, and I look back at the pictures of that moment too, and felt alive.
Thank you.
I'm a rebel girl because I do hard things. And I am a rebel girl because I fight for a better world. And I am a rebel girl because I like to live life on my own terms.